Brew Strong is brought to you by Blickman Engineering, home of the top-tier brewing stand. Visit them online at blickmanengineering.com.
It's time for the beer radio you've been looking for. This is the show that dispels myths, tackles the toughest topics, and makes no apologies for geeking out on beer. Hosted by two guys that drink before they think. Jamil and John Palmer. This is Brew Strong.
Hey, howdy, hey, my brewing brothers and sisters.
Greetings. Yeah, what a crowd.
All right.
Awesome.
Yeah, we're live here at the NHC 2013 in Philly. And now that it is later in the afternoon, more people have awoken from their slumbers after pro night last night, which was quite awesome. And you'll be sleeping in even later tonight after club night. Trust me, you'll...
Yep, the rocks will be harder to lift in the morning.
Yeah, lots of water, maybe a few Tylenol, something like that before you go to bed. Just word to the wise if you've never done it before. How many people are new here to your first Homebrewers Conference?
Ooh, that's quite a few.
Yeah.
You got a real treat in store for you.
Right. If you've never been, it is pretty amazing. Speaking of pretty amazing, our fine sponsor, Blickman Engineering, has got a booth right over there. After the show, go by and say hi to John and his crew. Blickman Engineering, innovating your homebrew.
That's right.
Our fine sponsors. Make sure you tell them you appreciate that they support the show. All right, today we are going to... we've got a topic we want to talk about. We get emails from people. They send them into brewstrong@thebrewingnetwork.com. And they've got show ideas, questions, things like that. You're all welcome to send them in as well. And we're going to talk about double dry hopping for one topic. You know, there's dry hopping, just throwing all the hops in at once. There's splitting it into two and then timing it out. Why would you do that? What's the reasoning? What's the result? And we're going to talk a little bit about that today. And then we're going to take your live questions here. Any question, any brewing topic you want. And even if it's not a brewing topic, maybe we can cover it as well. You'll just come up to the mic. Say what your question is, and we'll answer it for you here on the air. And the best question is going to get this lovely BN Zipper sweat jacket. Market value is...
what's it up to now?
$200?
$340.
There we go.
Is what these would retail for in your average 7-Eleven.
It's 100% silk.
100% silk. It's and not just any silk. It's crotch worm silk.
Yep.
And so we'll be giving that out here today. So stick around for the end of the show. And after the show, John and I will be glad to shake hands, kiss babies, sign books, whatever you want, take pictures.
Yep. Sign your wife. Yep.
Yeah. Whatever it is you want us to do.
Did he say sign your wife?
We'll probably do it. Yeah.
I thought so.
Yeah. John said that. I avoided that topic. All right. So, double dry hopping, John. Why would somebody double dry hop a beer?
Well, I would imagine it's to take advantage of the different compounds that come off the hops as you dry hop.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the volatiles, get released at different rates at different temperatures. You also have considerations where you need to look at the long-term flavor stability of the beer. Dry hopping is a chance to introduce oxidation into the beer or introduce oxygen that can lead to staling. It can also result in the loss of the very compounds that you're trying to impart in the beer. Mm-hmm. So by staggering the dry hopping out, you can take advantage of different compounds, etc.
Okay. Yeah, one of the things, when we first started making Evil Cousin, in the past as a homebrewer, I had seen, reference to dry hopping multiple times, and probably one of the first was Vinny Russian River. His Pliny recipe talks about dry hopping one day, and then you wait a few days, you dry hop the rest. And I thought that was interesting. I followed that and seemed to have good results. And then I didn't really notice, Brittleson says, Vinny says, all these guys say, and when they say, we pretty much do because these guys know what they're doing. Right?
Yep, definitely.
So when it came time to make a commercial batch of Imperial IPA, I said, okay, well, what we're going to do is we're going to put in these hops in this dry hop edition, then we're going to put in these hops in this dry hop edition. And, beer turned out great. And the next time it was being dry hopped, or after it was dry hopped, I taste every beer, and I tasted. I said something's different. The hop character isn't the same, and they're like, "Well, yeah, everything's the same." My guys were saying we didn't make it any different, and I look at the log, and they had put all the hops into one hop edition.
Ah, okay.
So they put all the hops into one hop edition, instead of breaking it up into the two. And I could taste the difference. Without knowing, I was like, no, the hop character's not the same. Something happened. Something changed. We did something different. Did we change, pitching rates? Did we change, oxygen? Did we change the malt? What did we change? Is it a different batch of hops, a different lot from a different supplier? What is it? And that turned out to be the difference. We single hop, same hops, same supplier, everything the same. Single hopped versus splitting it out into two, which I thought was very interesting.
Yeah, it is.
So
how did what was the primary difference that you perceived? Was it just different, or could you taste something?
It wasn't as bright and fresh.
Okay.
It seemed a little, like there wasn't as much dry hop character.
Okay.
The dry hop character was less. And I kind of figured out why. Oh. And then I talked to somebody, and they told me exactly the same reasoning that I was going through.
Okay, very good.
And I thought it was very interesting. Here's what we should do. We should take a real short break, and when we come back, I'll explain why it is that this double dry hopping makes a difference versus single dry hopping. Back right after this.
Tonight is the night.
We bring the creature to life, Dr. Blickmanstein?
Yes, J.P. Gore. Everything is perfect for my next fermented creation.
But, Doctor, the storm is too far away. We'll never have enough power to isomerize the creature's alpha acids.
Yes, J.P. Gore, we will. For I have in my possession the Tower of Power.
Blickman's new Tower of Power is the evolution of automation. Control hot liquor, sparge, and mash temps like a pro. The Tower of Power is a high-quality gas-fired rim system that works with your current brewing setup. With ultra-precision, the tower can hold your mash to 1/2 of a degree Fahrenheit. Precision and repeatability. The Tower of Power is the answer to automatic, fast ramp times. See more at BlickmanEngineering.com. Bring your next creation to life with the Tower of Power.
Dr. Blickmanstein, with the Tower of Power, you can probably give me an afternoon at the pub to enjoy a pint.
Don't be silly, J.P. Gore. We have beer to brew.
What'd you get? More brewing ingredients?
Yep. You know what I love about Brewmaster's Warehouse?
The $6.99 shipping?
Well, yeah, but...
Oh, the in-store classes for beginning brewers.
Yeah, that's cool, but...
Oh, the Brew Builder. Creating and saving your recipes online is awesome!
No, I mean, yes, but...
The cheese-making supplies.
No.
Oh, the wine-making supplies. Oh, the distilling equipment and liquor flavorings.
All that stuff is awesome, yes, but what I really love is that the guy who runs it is totally hot. And that Brew Builder software is awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Brewmaster's Warehouse brings you flat-rate shipping on great equipment and ingredients to make beer, wine, cheese, and spirits at brewmasterswarehouse.com. And if you're in Georgia, stop by Brewmaster's Warehouse Monday through Saturday from 10 to 6. Visit brewmasterswarehouse.com today.
Because it's totally hot.
Oh, yeah.
At
10, huh? Getting tired of that same old handcrafted beverages day after day? Are you looking for something with more diversity than your normal beer? Fellow BN Army member Michael Fairbrother, owner of Moonlight Meadery, is reviving an entire beverage category. Mead!
The meads at Moonlight Meadery are all handcrafted from the finest honey on the market and are perfect for any occasion, like weddings, baby showers, or...
Excuse me? Mead is not your average girly drink, mister, and Moonlight Meads can be enjoyed anytime, anywhere. Football games with the guys.
Yeah!
Barbecues with the guys.
Yeah!
Operating power tools with the guys.
Yeah! Actually, sir, that's really dangerous.
Good point, son.
Next time you have something to celebrate or are just looking for a new tasting experience, pick up a bottle of mead from Moonlight Meadery. Now in 21 states, making over 60 varieties of mead from dry, semi-sweet to sweet.
Break out of that craft beer lull. Grab a bottle of Moonlight Mead. Can't find some? Then ask. No, make that demand some.
Yeah!
Are you a member of the American Homebrewers Association? Well, you should be. Members of the AHA can focus on brewing beer, and the AHA takes care of the rest. The American Homebrewers Association advocates on behalf of homebrewers like you to legalize the hobby in all 50 states and make sure that beer laws make sense. Plus, there are many great benefits that come with your AHA membership, like AHA member deals that give you awesome deals at bars, restaurants, breweries, and more. Zymergy Magazine and Zymergy for tons of articles, how-tos, easy-to-follow recipes, and news about the hobby you love, and access to the members-only content on homebrewersassociation.org. But the AHA can't do it without your support. Join today so the American Homebrewers Association can keep fighting for your homebrewing rights. Visit homebrewersassociation.org or join now from the homepage of the Brewing Network website. Relax. Don't worry. It's the American Homebrewers Association.
BN Army, HopTech has a great discount waiting for you. Do you often find it difficult to find specific specialty ingredients for your homebrew recipes? Well, listen to this. HopTech stocks 59 different grains to choose from, 39 varieties of pellet hops, and 8 kinds of whole leaf hops. And HopTech not only carries Y yeast and White Labs yeast for you, but also Fermentus, 04, 5, 6, 23, 33, and T58 Belgian yeast, plus Cooper's, Nottingham, and Windsor yeasts. Got your recipe ready to go? Pick up some great brew gear like new long and short sleeved shirts, games, and more. HopTech's new website is being updated every day with new items. If you don't see it, call the shop. They're open 6 days a week. BN Army and AHA members get a 10% discount, and active military personnel get 15% off. Visit HopTech.com today for great selection, great service, and a great discount. HopTech.com.
Back to your hosts, Jamil Zainasheff and John Palmer. Putting the testicles in technical. This is Brew Strong.
All right, we're back here live at NHC in Philly, having a grand old time.
We are indeed.
Enjoying myself like I always do.
Yep.
All right.
I've got the pictures to prove it.
Well, yeah, I can't pay as much as I did in the past. I'm financially tight with the new brewery and all that. So before the break, I was talking about noticing a difference in our beer between double dry hop and the next batch. Same beer, single dry hopped, same amount of hops, same process, same equipment. And what I began to wonder is we're putting in this massive amount of hops. We're putting in so much hops. I mean, we're throwing boxes and boxes of hops into this thing. And in the cone of the fermenter, it slopes down. And your hops will start to stack up in something like that. And you start to get a pretty deep layer of hops.
Okay.
If you throw it all in at once, it all piles up at the bottom, and all those hops at the bottom, they're really not doing anything.
Okay,
it's
yeah, makes
more the surface layer where you're getting the interaction with the beer, and you're getting it all kind of filters on down. We use hop pellets, and they all kind of, trickle on down to the bottom. And during that time, you're getting something, but you really get not a lot more. Once it's buried under a big pile of hops, the stuff at the bottom is not interacting with the beer anymore.
Right.
So you get less from those hops, and what you do is you throw in a little bit, let that trickle down and settle, and then we dump that, and then we throw in more, And so we're getting, more exposure once it's all dropped to the bottom.
That makes sense, yeah. Better surface area.
The same thing can happen. A lot of people like to ferment in Cornelius kegs, long, tall cylinder. If you're making something with a lot of insane amount of hops, it's going to stack up pretty thick at the bottom. You do that, you might want to look at doing a double dry hop where you spread it out and you're not burying so many hops at a time.
That makes sense.
Carboy's fairly wide base. So it'll be a thinner layer, but you can see what kind of layer you're building. And if you got just a thin layer of hops across the bottom, then that's probably fine. You start getting a thick layer of hops across the bottom, you're masking off the interaction of those hops with the beer.
Yeah.
And the same thing goes if you're using a conical fermenter from our sponsor Blickman Engineering. Again, it's got that conical shape, and it's going to stack up at the bottom, and you're going to experience that same problem. So therefore, the double dry hopping kind of, resolves that. I can't remember who it was that told me. I might have been talking to Mitch at Stone, or I might have been talking to, I was talking to somebody. I talk to all these guys and tell them all my stories of woe, and they give me good advice. Okay. So, but they said, that's what happens is you're burying the other hops, and they're not interacting with the liquid anymore. If you put it all in at once, you've pretty much minimized the value of those hops you've just thrown in.
Well,
so
for a
split it out. Homebrewer could split it out. You can dry hop every day.
Yeah,
or
suspend a hop bag in the fermenter.
Yeah, the problem with the bag is, and this is why I'm not a big fan of the bags, because you've packed it all in there, and that inside area is probably not very exposed to the liquid, and you get that issue. I guess if you could do a long, thin, hop tube, you might be able to get something a little bit better, more surface area. The trick is the surface area. Now, some breweries, one of the things they'll do is they will, dump the hops in, and then they'll gas it with some CO2 every once in a while to kind of stir it up, to percolate it up back into solution. And again, it's to expose that material to the beer.
Yep.
I think the drawback there is, you are kind of volatilizing things. You may be sending a little bit of aromatics away. I think that's still a pretty good way to do it.
Yeah.
Now, homebrewing, on something like this, maybe you want to rack the beer off the yeast, onto your dry hops. And every once in a while, you could just give it a little shake.
Right.
I suppose that might be a way, or you could put a wand down there and blow some CO2 from the bottom if you wanted to try this CO2 stirring method. Mm-hmm. I was shocked that I actually tasted a difference.
That's really interesting.
Normally, if you asked me before that, I would have said, well, I'm sure maybe in a side-by-side it makes a difference. You'd say, oh, yeah, these beers are just very slightly different. But I noticed it just walking in and getting a sample from the fermenter.
I got a question, Jay-Z.
Uh-huh.
And by the way, if anybody has questions, we got a microphone here, and we don't have to wait till the end. You can come up and ask questions while we're still on this topic, too.
Jump on up if you want to talk.
So I did an Evil Twin clone.
Right.
Got the recipe straight from you guys, got the ingredients from you, and it included double dry hopping in the recipe after a couple days. And I wondered, I do use a conical, so I have the ability to drop the tube out of it. And so when it came to the second dry hopping, I wondered if I was supposed to empty out the first dry hopping that's sitting down at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't end up doing it. I just threw it all on top. But do you think it makes it, I guess it's a contact time question.
Right.
And do you think it makes a difference?
I think you could do it either way. The question is, if you leave the dry hops in for too long, do you start to get more of a grassy character? And so, therefore, you want to drop them, maybe. But, if we're saying that, the second load of hops covers over the first load and makes them ineffective in the beer, then, it probably makes no difference.
Okay.
I'd be interested in trialing something like that where you drop it or don't drop it.
Okay.
I think that you'd probably be okay just throwing it in.
I guess my second question about that then is, since homebrewers we're using much less ingredients than a pro, if it's a contact with the hops themselves that's causing it to be a better way to dry hop, why not just increase the amount of dry hops in one single addition? And there's still, then you're getting a ton of matter in there coming into contact with the beer.
I think you could. Again, I think there's a amount of time needed for it to dissolve into solution. And again, if you threw more in at once, when it settles to the bottom, I think you're losing out on some of it. It gets covered over, and it has you're not going to get the same effect. We actually, by splitting out, we're getting more hop character. It's the same amount of hops.
It is. Okay.
So whether we're doing it in double or in a single addition.
Okay.
And we found, more hop character splitting it out.
Okay. And I guess some of it just drops to the bottom pretty quickly, too, right? Some of it I've seen.
Oh, yeah. I mean, pretty much as soon as you throw it in, you start to see things, just start to settle out. I guess if you have a little bit of CO2 in solution, it might, help kind of form some bubbles to lift it back up.
All right. Introduce yourselves if you're going to come ask questions so our listeners know who you are.
Yeah, hi, my name's Chris. I'm from northern New York. My question is, when you dry hop twice, does it have to be at the same temperature each time? Is there a benefit to dry hopping at a colder temperature and a warmer temperature?
Oh, that's a good idea, or at least a good question, because, that, may have some effect. When you dry hop at a different temperature, you tend to get, different characteristics, I think. It does affect the final flavor. So by double dry hopping, you could actually do one at one temperature and one at another temperature. Start warmer maybe, dry hop, and then, you're slowly lowering the temperature, and then when you do your second dry hop, it's at a lower temperature.
Yeah, I mean, as Stan was saying this morning in the Hops Talk, there's 440 plus different compounds that have been identified in hops so far. And each of these is an individual compound that has its own volatilization temperature. And so the temperature that you dry hop at is going to affect what proportion of volatilization and extraction of the oils occurs from those hops. So yeah, you can, you'd have to run side by side, but you should get a perceptible difference, depending on temperature.
Right. No, yeah, that's an interesting idea, and I think it's worth trying, following up on that and seeing what you come across.
Jamil, in the case of dry hopping in general, so at Heretic, is your first dry hop always going in at fermentation temperature, or do you ever cool it before adding any of the dry hops at all?
Right. I mean, we're pretty much right around fermentation temperature. We come down a few degrees, and we're trying I think the general consensus from Brittelson and all these guys is lower 60s is a good temperature for dry hopping.
Do you ever leave it right? So if you're fermenting something at 68, would you ever put the dry hop in and just leave it at 68, or do you always want to start your crash?
Yeah, I've done that before. And when you're homebrewing, that's really the easier way to do it. Fermentation temperature, you're able to maintain that. Go ahead and throw your hops in. If you have a fermentation fridge set up and you can control the temperature better, then one of the reasons you start dropping the temperature is the yeast drop out and you get clearer beer before you throw your dry hops in. And I do believe if there's a lot of yeast in suspension that it actually is detrimental to the dry hop character,
because it sucks up the oils and
I just there's so much cell surface material in there. Those cells, they're round. There's a lot of them. It really, I believe it can take up a lot of your hop character. So I like to see the hops drop, and a good way to get that started is to drop the temperature before you dry hop.
Yep, sounds good.
Feel free to step right up to the mic if
you've
anybody has questions.
Jump right in.
Hi, this is Ken from Yardley. From a dry hopping perspective, is there a best practice for the way to do it? So racking on top of dry hops to avoid oxygenation, or is it just a matter of putting them in a sack and letting them sit in there? So just want to kind of your take on the idea of dry hopping.
Well, for me, and what I've done as a homebrewer and what we do commercially is we take the hops, we flush it with CO2 to try and drive out oxygen, or at least a portion of the oxygen, and then we just dump it in the top. So there's still some CO2 coming off the beer, and it's blanketed with CO2, and we just drop it right in. Now, one of the advantages I think to that is they sit on the surface. Hot pellets or even cones will all sit on the surface, and they get some surface time that way, and then they start to break down, and they matriculate their way through the beer to the bottom, and I think you're getting quite a bit of residence time that way.
Yep.
If you put them in the bottom, I think you can better expel the oxygen that is worked into them. You can more gently rack your beer over things like that. I think that has some benefits, but I think you may not get as much contact with the hop bits as you would otherwise.
If we either rack off of the yeast cake before dry hopping, or in the case of a conical, dumping the bottom, is there still enough, generally enough yeast left in solution to help with the oxygen scrubbing? Because inevitably you're adding oxygen, right?
Right.
And do you think that if we're off of the yeast cake, there's still enough in solution?
Yes, there is. I mean, if it's been sitting there a month, then no.
You know how I brew.
Yeah. But within a couple of weeks, the beer's still hazy, cloudy. Then you've got plenty of yeast, and it'll take up the air.
Okay.
But if the beer's fallen bright in the meantime, well, there may still be enough depending on how much oxygen you put in, but less so than if the beer is still cloudy.
Well, and I'd also say the way that most people package their beers, they're getting oxygen in it anyways. So I don't think the amount of oxygen they're getting from the hops, if they bother to flush the hops to start with, is it's probably fairly minimal.
Okay.
I don't think it's a huge impact.
All right.
I don't know that anybody has ever dry hopped a beer and then said, "Oh my God, my beer's oxidized," and that's including people who just tear open the pack and sprinkle it in like they're adding salt.
Yeah.
I think even then, have you tasted any beers like that and thought, "Oh, this is oxidized because of the dry hopping"?
No.
I don't think so. And I think maybe you're shortening the shelf life of a beer like that. And commercially, that would be something significant. But for homebrewers, dry hop beer, the reason for making it yourself is that it's nice and fresh. You've got that beer the moment it's done, and something that's dry hopped, you want to drink it right away. So you consume it right away, anyways.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's one of the benefits of homebrewing. So I wouldn't worry about it too much personally. Got another question. And the best question today is going to get this fine BN zipper sweat jacket. These retail $495.
That's right.
I'm Ken from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.
Ken.
My question would be, would you suggest if I did the second dry hopping in the keg to let it at room temperature for a couple days before I cool it down and carbonate it?
Yeah. I would, dry hop in the 60s, lower 60s, mid 60s, in that range. I think is generally good. If your fermentation has gone up to in the 70s or something like that, I'd cool it down before you dry hop, and then let it sit a few days at that. Get the most out of those hops, and then go ahead and cold condition carbonate. You can dry hop a keg of beer that's going straight to the fridge. I've done that in the past before. Just while you're racking it to the keg, you throw in some hop pellets or some hop cones, or and then put the keg in the fridge and hook up the gas, and
it's true. Yeah.
Just let it continue to cask hopping sort of while you're enjoying it over the course of a few days or a week or two.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember Matt mentioning that the temperature you dry hop at affects the amount of time that you typically leave it. Kind of like lagering. I mean, if you put them in colder, you need to leave them a little bit longer to get the amount of expression you want. versus warmer, shorter time. And
okay. Well, let's take a short break. When we come back, we'll get more of your questions, and we'll be giving away this great BN Network zipper sweatshirt valued at $600.
Yeah.
Shortly, right
Plus
after this.
tax.
Hi, I'm Jason Harris, the proud owner here at Keystone Homebrew Supply. We're thrilled to be entering our 20th year of supplying this great industry. And to show you, the Brewing Network Army, how much we appreciate your support, we're offering you 10% off your first order on our website, KeystoneHomebrew.com. Just use coupon code BNARMY at checkout, and I'll get your order out the same day. My goal at Keystone Homebrew Supply has always been to have a complete supply of everything a brewer could want. When you place your order online or when you come into our store, it's our goal to have everything on your list and more. One aspect of KeystoneHomebrew.com that we're really excited about is the ability to fulfill customers' exact grain bills. Do you hate to wait? Keystone Homebrew Supply can get your precious yeast and hops to you within just one day if you live between Connecticut and Virginia, and within 2 days east of the Mississippi. KeystoneHomebrew.com. Coupon code BNARMY. I'm Jason Harris, and I approve this message.
When I order a beer, I want my server to know more about it than I do. I want someone who enjoys good beer and loves helping others enjoy it too. I want someone who knows how to pour a perfect pint for every beer style. I want a Cicerone.
The Cicerone Certification Program is creating the type of people who help you enjoy great beer. Home brewers and craft beer lovers know beer is more flavorful and complex than ever, and it takes some serious knowledge to store and serve beer right. Cicerones know beer. There are 3 levels in the Cicerone program: Certified Beer Server, Certified Cicerone, and Master Cicerone. Cicerones are truly the sommeliers of beer. The best beer locations have a Certified Cicerone on staff. Relaxed and unpretentious. Cicerones are tested on storing and serving beer, beer styles, flavor and tasting, the brewing process and ingredients, and pairing food with beer. Learn more about your next beer guide at cicerone.org. Certified Cicerone, because it takes top talent to present a perfect pint.
A vial of White Labs yeast is the key to your best beer. When you open a vial of White Labs yeast, you're giving your beer its best chance for a perfect fermentation. In addition to their already incredible variety of yeasts, White Labs is proud to announce WLP 90, San Diego's super yeast, now available year-round. WLP 90 is super clean, super fast fermenting, with low esters, and has a neutral flavor and aroma profile. It's alcohol tolerant and highly flocculent. For more of the latest White Labs news, click over to whitelabs.com, where you can read reviews of yeast, learn in the lab section, and join the customer club. And if you should find yourself in San Diego, White Labs has a brand new training facility for craft brewers and home brewers alike. Whitelabs.com. Discover yeast, nutrients, enzymes, and more for commercial breweries, home brewers, and homebrew stores. White Labs. It's all in the vial.
All right, BN Army, it's trivia time. What's the only homebrew shop with over 1,000 recipe kits, $4.99 shipping on orders over $100, and is also home of the Wolf Shirt? The one and only answer is Austin Homebrew Supply. For over 20 years, they've specialized in creating recipes such as the best-selling Texas Blonde Ale, Apocalypso, Hop Bomb 2.0, and Double Chocolate Stout. And they just recently unveiled their small grain kits that produce 1 gallon of beer. Visit AustinHomebrew.com to browse their extensive catalog of equipment and ingredients. They also have mini clone recipes of your favorite commercial beers. They're the exclusive retailer of BrewVent Yeast Fuel as well, Yeast Nutrient, and the all-new Bodybuilder. Follow Austin Homebrew Supply on Google Plus to participate in video hangouts on popular brewing topics. So visit AustinHomebrew.com today and make sure you sign up for their weekly email with news and specials. Austin Homebrew Supply, AustinHomebrew.com.
Back to the 2 guys that know how to turn beer into beer. This is Brew Strong.
Hey, howdy, hey, everybody.
Hey.
Still having a good time? All right. Yeah, we're here live at the NHC, having a good time. And speaking of having a good time,
you know, we have a sponsor that we always have to do live reads for. It's a great coupon code that you can use. Does anybody here know the
coupon code?
The sponsor?
Yeah, the sponsor.
You listen to the show. Has anybody heard their live read enough times that you could recite it yourself?
You think you could do it? Anybody?
I bet there's somebody out here that could recite that. Do you want to do your first broadcast paid commercial? Anybody? I know one of you knows it by heart.
Anybody? No?
Liars.
No?
You want to listen to Jamil do it one more time. All right.
Yeah, a great sponsor, speaking of having a good time, adamandeve.com. They have a lot of interesting items that can make your evening with your brew partner that much more special.
Wow.
That's right.
You need a few goodies. Check it out, adamandeve.com. And for a short time only, if you go to adamandeve.com and you use the offer code JAMIL, Jamil, you're going to get 50% off just about any one item. You get free shipping on that item. You get a free extra gift so sensual, I can't mention it here at the NHC. I mean, I'll tell you in private after the show. Just, ask me, I'll tell you what I think it is. But I can't mention it live on the air. And then you get to choose 3 free DVDs. You get from all sorts of genres, from chunky, co-ed, Asian, anal, whatever it is you like.
Was that one genre?
That was all one genre.
Yeah.
Double dry hopping is another one. And you can pick from all those different genres. And there's something for everybody. It's not the cheap bargain bin junk. That's good DVD stuff you get to pick from. So go to adamandeve.com, use the offer code Jamil, and you're going to get free shipping. You get an item at 50% off. You get the 3 free DVDs of your choosing. You get the free gift so essential we can't mention it.
Right.
And did I already say free shipping? Free shipping on the whole mess.
Very good.
So very little expense, lots of goodies. You and your brew partner will have a grand old time. You really spice things up. You can surprise your brew buddy. Hey, dude, look what I got.
I'm going to make him pay double for this one.
Something to stir the mash with. We need a new paddle. I thought this would do. All right. So we're talking about double dry hopping and other topics. Anybody got another question here for us live?
Hey, I'm Brian from Worcester, Mass. On a professional level, if you're generally sealing the fermenter after your initial dry hop, you're going to have to bleed off pressure before the second one. Do you think you're blowing off a lot of aromatics? And would that be just corrected by how many dry hops you're putting in maybe in the second edition?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think you do. Every time you vent a tank, CO2 bubbles through the solution, and you off gas. You can smell hops coming off that. It's like in anything. When you're boiling and you smell something in the boil, that's stuff that's no longer in the beer.
Yeah.
You open your fermenter and you smell hops coming out. That's hops no longer in the beer. So you have to compensate with it one way or another. And we're trying to get in the maximum hop character we can. And there's limitations. There's things like that that are going to affect you, but I think the trick is in selecting the right hops, the right blend of hops. There's something to be said for single hop beers, but if you're trying to maximize hop character, I think everybody would agree it's a blend of different kinds of hops and different kinds of compounds that really give it an incredible hop character and make it last a long time.
That's right.
So I think that's how you compensate. It's just it's carpet bombing it with more hops. Good question, though. Any other questions? Anyone else want to step up to win this wonderful zipper sweat jacket valued at $750?
Wow.
Here's a volunteer.
How you guys doing? My name's Paul from St. Louis.
Paul?
Cool.
I'm going to give a quick shout out to my buddy Dan in my homebrew club, who I know will be listening to this later.
Hey, Dan.
Who wishes he was here.
Suck it, Dan.
Question I have, a guy that I know back home, he's started playing around with dry hopping when there's a few points of gravity left before fermentation is done.
Uh-huh.
And he says he feels that he gets a little different and maybe even better aroma out of that. Is that something you guys have experimented with, or do you have any thoughts on that method?
Yeah, my thought on it is, and I know, there are fantastic breweries that say that that's the way to do it. My thing is, the more active the yeast are, yeast, will really take a lot of hop compounds out of the beer. You know, if you pitch less, beer can be more bitter just because there's less cell surface taken away, the hop compounds. So, dry hopping with the yeast, I guess you could do that and then do it again later after the yeast. A lot of times the theory is because it's actively fermenting, it'll use up the oxygen quicker than if you were to wait later and throw the hops in and any oxygen in those hops. Again, I think for the home brewer, I wouldn't worry about that. I'd worry more about getting more hop character in there. I wouldn't worry about the micro amounts of oxygen that go in with the dry hops. I think you don't need the thing to be stable for 6 months. You're going to drink it within a month when it's great. That's the purpose, anyways. So. Any other thoughts on that?
No, that sounds right. I mean, for precisely those reasons.
Perfect. I think I could do Palmer's job today.
That sounds right.
Yeah, good job.
Jamil, I think you're right. Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, we also got a question from, and you guys can all do this when you're listening to the podcast. You can send an email saying to Brew Strong at thebrewingnetwork.com and say, hey, I got a question for the show. I got a show idea, whatever it might be. If you're listening live, you can actually get in the chat room and you can ask questions through the chat room, and our Scott Moskowitz will read them out to us, and we'll answer them on the show live as well.
Yep.
Catfish, he says, hey, I'm wondering about using pellet hops in a hop back or a torpedo. I understand that the whole cones acts as a depth filter, keeping the smaller chunks from clogging the flow. Could a certain percentage of pellet hops be mixed with the leaf hops in a hop back? It seems that a lot of the varieties that you would want in your hop back are in short supply, with pellets being more available than whole flowers. I don't have a hop back or a torpedo to play with, but I would like to try it out myself. What do you think on that, John? If you were to take the Blickman Hop Rocket, and put a layer of cones in the bottom, whatever hop you get, and then you stack in pellets on top, or
yeah, that would work well. I mean, it's like your mash bed.
Mm-hmm.
As you slowly start recirculating, the natural filter sets up. You get your hulls down at the bottom against the false bottom, and the Blickman Hop Rocket works much the same way. So if you can help that by putting the pellet hops in against the false bottom, put the leaf hops against the false bottom, and then put the pellet hops behind them, and that would really decrease the amount of hop that would get through.
Right. Well, and my concern, not necessarily that too much of the pellet material would get through, but rather that I'd clog up the hop rocket. And I wouldn't get flow through if I use too much.
Well, if you use too much hot pellets, I suppose that's a possibility. I'm really thinking more of clogging up your plate chiller if that's what you have.
Right.
Because the plates are set pretty close together. I've experienced that where I've be lottery or cooling, and all of a sudden everything stops because my chiller's clogged. So that's when move to pellet. Putting more hops in the hop rocket, and that took care of it. I didn't have the small bits flowing through.
Okay.
So it does make a very effective hop filter.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to take one more real short break, and that'll be our last break of the show. When we come back, we'll have time for one more question from the crowd. Line up for that, and then we will award the Brewing Network zipper hoodie, which is valued at over $1,200. Back right after this.
Williams Brewing is your online resource for prompt delivery of quality home brewing supplies. Since 1979, Williams Brewing has offered the finest equipment and freshest ingredients, and the best customer service in the business. Cut hours off your brewing sessions by using one of their 11 varieties of famous Williams malt extract. Their new Snap-Lock stainless steel cam-lock fittings will make connecting your pump or heat exchanger quick and easy. Or check out their exclusive paintball tank-based draft beer equipment. They even have their own line of precision hydrometers. Go to williamsbrewing.com to browse their vast selection. That's williamsbrewing.com. Orders placed by 4 p.m. Pacific Time weekdays ship the same day. Brewing is easy. The Williams way.
Hi, I'm Jamil Zainasheff, and in addition to my work on the Brewing Network, I write the Style Profile column in every issue of Brew Your Own magazine.
Hi, I'm Sean Paxton, and when I'm not prepping for the Homebrewed Chef on the Brewing Network, you can find me writing articles on how to cook with your home brew for Brew Your Own magazine.
Greetings, cretins. This is John Palmer, and when I'm not writing for Brew Your Own, I'm reading it.
John Palmer, Sean Paxton, Jamil Zainasheff. If you love listening to them on the Brewing Network, you'll love reading their articles, tips, and recipes in the pages of Brew Your Own magazine. Join Jamil, John, and Sean 8 times a year in Brew Your Own. And when you subscribe to BYO on the Brewing Network website, half of your subscription price goes right back to the BN to support great beer and food programming. So sign up for Brew Your Own magazine through the BN website today so you can listen and read your way to better homebrew.
From the stovetop to a camp burner to some kind of brew stand, most homebrewers follow some version of this progression. With each move, a homebrewer will often have to change a lot, if not all, of their equipment. Until now, Blickman Engineering brings you the top-tier brewing stand, the only brewing stand that grows with you. For example, buy a top-tier floor-standing burner now, and it'll bolt right to your top-tier brewing stand when you're ready for all-grain brewing. The top-tier brewing stand is perfect for 5-gallon to 20-gallon batch sizes. Its modular design is adjustable and accommodates everything from small footprint coolers up to 30-gallon pots. How does the top-tier brewing stand do it? At its core is a strong, heat-treated, and anodized aluminum main post. On all 4 sides are built-in T-slots for the adjustable heavy-gauge stainless steel shelves and beefy burner tiers. The tiers accommodate any manufacturer's pots or coolers up to 21 inches in diameter. Best of all, not only does the top-tier brewing stand grow with your skills and equipment, but it easily knocks down for long-term storage or transport, too. The top-tier brewing stand from Blickman Engineering. Learn more at blickmanengineering.com and to find a local Blickman retailer. And start brewing from the top tier.
I do not believe my eyes. Welcome back to the studio, the Gay Prince.
Oh, how are you, Justin? You're looking very, very nice, very fit.
What brings you here?
I heard that you wanted to talk about my new favorite place for online ingredients, the Braumeister.
I think you mean the Brewmeister.
I am a German. This is a German word.
But you know that when you type in the website, it's the Brewmeister.
I have a German computer.
And it translates over to...
You're very efficient.
I see. It's the Brewmeister homebrew shop.
I think you're very wrong, and it hurts me deep inside my schnitzel.
Okay. If you're talking about the Brewmeister, they do have 2 locations, one in Folsom and one in Roseville.
Yeah, their customer service is very, very nice. They have very strong hands. And nice tushies. It's the squeezy tushy.
It's the Brewmeister.
It's the Braumeister,
the Brewmeister. Say it after me. The Brewmeister.
Okay, American. I always shop at the Brewmeister.
Shop Brewmeister today, just like the German Prince, and save with the coupon code BNARMY. Visit shopbrewmeister.com.
Does that have an umlaut?
Learning to brew has never been so disgusting. This is Brew Strong.
All right, here we are.
Live.
Philly.
Yep.
2013. Great food, great beer, great people.
Pre-club night. Looking forward to that.
Is that like pre-pubescent or what?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're ready to have a wonderful time tonight. And we've got time for one more question to get you in the running for this absolutely gorgeous, silky, soft, luscious.
Jamil, stop fondling the zippy.
Oh, yeah, baby. All right.
Hurry up and ask before it gets more tainted.
Yeah, we can even sign this for you if we can find a light-colored pen.
It doesn't have to be about hops, by the way.
It can be about any brewing subject. So step right up.
More Jamil touches it, the value goes up.
That's right. Yeah. I'm leaving behind DNA on this thing that you could rub on your brew kettle.
That's disgusting.
My name is Sergey, and it's very nice to see you in person after following you for years.
Cool.
Thanks.
Thank you.
And the question is, you think you can include into this discussion your thoughts about adding hop flavor at serving time? through a device, some sort of Randall?
It's a good question.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I haven't used a Randall, but
I haven't done it. But I would say, and this isn't an answer. This is just more my experience. I haven't had a good one. I've tried them at GABF in different places in a commercial setting, and I have never tasted one that it seemed to help the beer. Have you? Have you ever had one? You have had one that it helped the beer?
Yes, actually, recently I was surprised. They had a perpetual IPA Trogs at Whole Foods just nearby.
Okay.
And I tried the beer. It was fine. And then they Randall it through Citra hops, and it was amazing.
Really?
That was really nice.
Okay.
I think I mean, I've had it at Southern California Homebrew Fest too, where Randall situation. It seems like so often they pack so much hops into the cylinder and force beer through that a lot of what you get is a lot of hop tannin and a lot of grassy flavor coming through. I mean, I think this is one of those situations where moderation can help. Where you get some fresh aroma coming through the Randall, great. You get too much, or you get too much contact with the green, and you kind of overpower it, perhaps.
Well, and I think something that plays a part in it is you run the beer into the cylinder and into the lines. And then, if it sits there for a while, or and it's getting warm, and then the next pull of that beer comes, and you get that versus, getting a cooler beer, through there. I think that may have something to do with it. I was in Texas for an event with the Homebrew Club there, and somebody had set up a whole Randall manifold thing, and they had like 6 different canisters, and one was like coffee, one was certain kind of hops, one was jalapenos, one was oak. They had all these different ones, and then you could change the valves on top, so you could have I want coffee and jalapeno, I want oak and Citra, I want and you could try any one or all. And then, it flowed out to the glass at the end. And those characters of coffee and chocolate and jalapeno and oak, you could taste it in the beer at the end. So, obviously something is happening there. I think that, it can use some maybe refinement of, keeping that whole thing refrigerated or making sure the beer's flowing like crazy.
Yeah.
And so I think there's something there to it. I think that that could be a definite positive effect. The question is, what's the best way to do it? What's to maximize that performance, I think.
I bet somebody at club night, at least one person will be pouring a beer that way tonight.
Right, they're going to be dragging us over there tonight going,
try this one.
Yes,
and then I'm going to have to lie and say, it's great. What a good job you did.
Jeez.
Chewing on hops.
Is that's the same voice you use when you tell me I did really great on the show.
Jamil, you did such a good job today, buddy.
See, it's exactly the same. I'm appalled now.
I just revealed. Damn it.
Just revealed that I don't know if I can continue on.
No, every show you do it's awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, you're doing a bang-up job. I don't have anything to replace it with, so you keep doing that show.
Right.
All right, we're giving away this $1,500 zipper sweat jacket here for the Brewing Network.
Yeah.
Incredibly soft inside.
Yeah.
Let me...
check that again. Yeah.
I think if you pick one of my questions, then I don't have to give anything away.
Right. Well, that's not going to happen. We have these in a variety of sizes, yes?
Yeah.
Just in case.
All the way up to you're a huge load.
You're a huge load size, and this happens to be a large, which is probably most of you out there. Yeah. And like I was saying, it's got the big hop grenade on the back. We could probably sign that with a black Sharpie, which Palmer has. If you guys want this signed, Justin will sign it, I'll sign it, Palmer will sign it. Whoever you want will sign it. Or if you want to keep it in pristine condition, then you can list it as new on eBay.
That's right.
And sell it for $1,500.
$1,500. You take like $14.95. You've still done pretty good. I thought that the question that I thought was the best was the one... asking about the multiple temperature dry hops, going with the initial dry hop temperature and the second dry hop at a different temperature.
Yeah, that was the first question.
I think that was Chris, right?
Winner.
Come on up. You're a winner.
Winner.
All right.
Nice
Excellent
work.
question.
You can just go to the booth and get the right size if it's not the right one. All right.
Excellent. Thank you
You
very
probably
much.
don't want it
I don't know
signed,
what
huh?
homebrew club is in here right now, but somebody brought us a beer, and I appreciate that. Is that you?
Yeah. DC Homebrewers.
All right.
Thank
Thanks
you
for the
very
beer.
much. All right.
Oh, it's great. It's a really good beer. I'm kidding. It is a good beer.
I don't know what to think of you anymore.
I've been lying to you for years.
Our whole conversations now taking a whole different meaning.
Except the one thing I never lied about is Gramarai. That truly is the best session beer on the planet.
now that you say it, now I don't believe it.
That one I mean it.
Sure. Now he means it.
Yeah. Oh, well.
Oh, my God. All right. Well, that's it for today's show. Thank you for participating. I hope you guys all have a wonderful time at the conference. Make sure to be in Michigan next year in Grand Rapids. It's the 12th through the 14th of June. We'll be there. We'd love to see you there as well. If you get a chance, I would suggest heading over to Blickman Engineering. Their booth is right over there. Lots of shiny stuff.
Yeah.
Ooh and ah over that stuff, and slap John Blickman on the back and shake his hand and tell him how much you appreciate that he sponsors this show. If you like this stuff and you want to see it continue, I suggest stepping over here, get yourself a Brew Strong T-shirt. I suggest getting yourself a Warhead. I suggest if you're not here and you're listening, or get yourself a sticker.
Patch.
Check out the Brew Strong, the Brewing Network store, brewingnetwork.com/store. You get some goodies there as well remotely. Until then, Brew Strong, everybody.
Brew Strong.